For Victims and Villains, my name is Josh. Today we are traveling back to WW2 to talk about the movie Lee. So Lee is a biopic that tells the story of war photographer Lee Miller and the influence that she really had on not only photography, but also the way that we would see women in roles of authority. Now, I'll be completely honest, I am way out of my depth in terms of a movie like this because typically I am the horror guy. Typically I will cover some comedies, but mostly for our channel, I am kind of the horror guy. There's a lot of really interesting elements that kind of made me interested in covering this. I think the dramatic turn for Andy Samberg was really the reason that I wanted to talk about this movie. I grew up on Samberg on SNL, and I've followed his career from Lonely Island, Brooklyn, Pop Star, and more, and kind of getting to see him take on a dramatic role for the first time in his career was actually a real treat. He does have a pretty medium-sized role in the movie. This is Kate Winslet's movie all around. I'll get to her in a second, as well as Alexander Skarsgard. Again, get to him in a second. Samberg, it holds his own against these really seasoned genre professionals. And I will just say that I hope this isn't the last time we see him take on something in the world of drama. But moving on to the film's star and the reason that a lot of people are probably going to check out this movie, Kate Winslet. Again, Kate Winslet has just proven time and time again that she can just crush and annihilate anything that she sets her mind to in the world of film, and Lee is just another reminder of that. Winslet's performance is nothing short of exceptional, whether it's her scenes with Samberg or the film's love interest played by Skarsgard. I just love the dynamic that she has with both of those characters and the dynamic that the trio have at the core of this film as it develops. But honestly, also, I just love any scene that she's in because she just brings her absolute A game and just elevates the performances of everyone around her. I will say that Winslet is probably the sole reason I would recommend this movie to someone else. I do think that the film's themes are important and unfortunately very timely. But at the end of the day, this is a pretty cut and dry, generic biopic. It feels really tough to say this, but given the themes of the film, the performance of the film, the direction of the film, this movie just kind of feels really generic and really forgettable at the end of the day. Like, this movie isn't a terrible movie, but it's far from a great movie, and it just feels like the last act is kind of the real punch that this film needed to kind of echo throughout, not just the last half hour. The final act of this movie is among some of the harder scenes to watch and themes and conversations that this film should promote and should give us. But at the end of that, what keeps this from being a better movie is everything that is leading up to that last act. I feel like there are some movies that have this pacing problem where you have first two acts are really set a solid foundation and have incredible development, then they kind of squander it in that last act and kind of undoes a lot of the movie. With Lee, it's interesting to note that it's the opposite problem. So Lee has these really kind of first two generic, really forgettable first two acts, and then you have this really riveting, really gripping third act, and it kind of renders the film completely forgettable by the time that you get there. And there are things revealed in the third act that I kind of wish would have been expanded upon a little bit more, kind of paint some of the things that happen in the first two acts in a different light, but it feels like it's a little bit too late by the time that it actually gets there. But I'm ready to run this one through the Rorschach rating scale. I'm going to go ahead and give Lee a 3 out of 5. I think overall this is a really well done movie. It has great performances in it, excellent direction, but what it really suffers from is creating a really strong foundation for these characters and for the performances and for the themes that are explored in the film's final act, which is the best part of the movie. It's incredibly riveting, but it feels like the film doesn't quite earn the ending that it's established. All right, if you guys have seen Lee, what did you guys think? Comment below and let me know. Normally, this is the part of the video where we would talk about how the film addresses mental health or how it handles mental health. However, I think this film really kind of speaks to the mental health of an entire group of people that I do not belong to and I do not feel qualified to really speak on. And I just want to encourage you to please check this movie out and see what this film has to speak on in terms of mental health and how it explores those themes of mental health, not just for women, but for all Jewish people as well. However, if you or someone you know is struggling, hit the link in the show notes below to check out our mental health resource library. You can find resources for those that are struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, anxiety, depression, and much more. Is currently playing in theaters now in limited release from Roadside Attractions. If you guys want more information on the movie, it is in the show notes, as well as links to more of our movie reviews, our podcast network that previously mentioned, mental health resource library, all of our social media. And if you would like to get involved and support our mental health education efforts, those links are also in the bio below. Hit that subscribe button below, and until next time, remember to stay classy.